Coming to you live, 30 feet on the ground for the last time, where the only living thing we saw was a dead bat. I'm Austin.
And I'm Carson.
And this is the Unelectoral College. Today's episode, Panic at the Courtroom. Today we're going to be talking about the implications of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death and the courts, as well as Kim Jong-un apologizing.
And then we're also going to be talking about TikTok and how it's still here, and birds.
Birds.
Just birds.
Just birds. Yeah. There really are two types of people, huh? Courts and Kim Jong-un, and the other side is TikTok and birds. Let's get started then on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We touched on it last week, obviously, her tragic passing on last Friday. We touched on it a bit, but now we're actually going a little deeper dive into the issues at play now that her death has had a week to, I don't want to say marinate, that's a weird word, a week to pass.
Yeah, so Trump has finally narrowed down his short list, supposedly, to who he wishes to replace her. Austin, would you like to talk about her for a little bit?
The front runner and the one that's been leaked as the go-to pretty much now is Amy Coney. I always say Coney Barrett. She's a conservative court justice from the United States Court of Appeals, the 7th Circuit. And she's 48 years old, which is, I think, one of the biggest things to touch on. If she's elected this year and lives to be the same age as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who fought on the court until she passed away, she's going to be in the court for 40 years, which is a long time. And it's hard to put that type of tenure into expression. I have a little brother who is going to graduate from high school in 2030, and that really pushed me like, wow, that's a long time away. So I'll be 30 when he graduates. That's nothing compared to this. If she lived the same duration as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she's going to be on that court until 2060, which is, I don't know if I'll be around when I'm 60.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lasting impact for sure, and that's the biggest scary part of it, because Brett Kavanaugh and some of Trump's other appointments aren't, that old either, so he's got reign of this court now for at least 20 years.
Right, and a little more about Barrett. She was a clerk under famed court judge Anthony Scalia, famed conservative, who would go sometimes both ways. He was usually conservative. And Amy Coney Barrett is definitely conservative. She has a pretty rigorous stance on anti-abortion. She is a Catholic who vows that her personal views and religion will not get in the way of her decision-making, which she has a past of that's proving that right.
I would disagree with that fully. I think she has a past that proves that wrong. And from what I understand of this topic is she still vows that Roe versus Wade should not be legal in this country anymore, effectively, and ending abortion rights in the United States. And so that's like a tricky kind of catch-22, because she's said publicly that she wants this to end. How does that not influence her beliefs when she gets into the court? Austin shrugged. Like you guys really couldn't see that.
No, you can see it. Trust me.
Yeah, so she's got a bunch of really interesting kind of issues about her. At the end of the day, though, it's not really going to matter because the Democrats don't really have a strategy right now to stop her.
I believe the big one that they're trying to do is to throw another impeachment trial in, is what I've been hearing is the idea, which, I mean, how far can that go? You figure, now that we have the nuclear option, it's really tough to just say anything about this without going through. I know some Democrats are saying they're not even going to listen to her hearings. They don't care. And should they? Do you think?
I think not listening to the hearings shows something about the divide in politics today. If Democrats don't show up to the hearings, I think what that demonstrates is that Trump is doing this by Trump's own orders and by Trump's own power without even considering the other side of the argument. And I feel like that's very symbolic for the entire Trump administration so far, where he's been unwilling to work with Democrats, where he's used the Republican majority in the Senate to bully his way through an impeachment trial, where he's pushed through a bunch of appointments beforehand. As much as as much as Democrats disagree with Barrett, Kavanaugh was the real big issue with his sexual assault allegations, but that was completely ignored by the right side of politics. At least Amy is just a controversial political figure. As far as I'm aware, she hasn't done anything wrong. Yeah. At the end of the day, she can get through, because the only disagreements would be on ideology. But, the actual person we had an issue with, he fucking brushed us under the rug for that, too.
And he's now on the court.
Yep.
What was I about to say? I wanted to mention, as well as the idea of Democrats not showing up to the hearing. I'm kind of on the other side. I don't think it's a good idea to do that. I have a feeling come November, I'm thinking for election time now. I have a feeling if the Democrats do not show up this hearing, Trump and the right side of politics are going to put them on blast for this, and Trump's going to spin it as they don't even care to hear us out. Even if it's, like you said, Trump's kind of being an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to spin this the other way.
Yeah,
they're not even giving Amy the light of day.
That's been the issue with a lot of politics recently, because for a Democratic standpoint, when we're advertising things, we can advertise it as Trump passed a nominee without any Democratic consideration. No cross the aisle, none of that. From him standpoint, he'll be like, oh, the Democrats are lazy, they didn't show up to the hearing, blah, 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 blah. And the thing of it is it speaks to people's bases, because the Republicans are going to eat that up and be like, oh my God, look at these Democrats. But at the same time, there's a justifiable reason to not show up.
Right.
And I don't think they're going to hear that. And it's, same thing with the impeachment trial. Trump tells his base he's innocent. The Democrats tell their base
he's not.
He didn't have a hearing. The Republicans called not a single witness in the Senate trial. How can you have a trial without witnesses?
You can't.
Exactly. So, is he innocent because he never had a trial? So, I think politics nowadays is just so polarized that, people are just going to do whatever they can to speak to their base. The question is, what does the movement do to the middle, who's not politically involved?
Right. You got to think, it depends on where they see most of their media from.
Mm-hmm.
You have to assume. You figure if they see it mostly from the left side, they're going to obviously swing them more left, and vice versa. I think one thing that's important to mention as well is that, of course, now that election time is coming up, we're really going to see plays for November starting to ramp up as well. We've already seen it in the courtroom where Trump and McConnell are just plowing not Supreme Court justices, but justices in these lower level courts.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to slam as many into these lower level appellate courts as they can, so that way they can obviously have their conservative decisions.
Yeah, it's just dangerous. No president, in my opinion, should have 3 judges on the courts. That's very dangerous, especially with this election coming up, because Trump has said it himself that he wants as many judges in the courts as possible, the lower ones, and of course the Supreme Court, in case something goes wrong with this election. What that means is he's going to simply appoint this judge, and he already has 3 votes in his favor because he's appointed 3 judges. All he needs is 5 then for the Supreme Court to roll his way, and then he wins the election, whether or not he actually won it or not.
Right. You figure if Trump gets elected come November, you figure Stephen Breyer is 82, Clarence Thomas is 72. They both could conceivably leave the court.
Breyer's already gone.
Breyer's already gone? This one is bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, is Breyer still in? I'm not familiar, but...
This one has Ruth Bader Ginsburg dying on it.
Oh, okay.
So you figure that could potentially be 2 more justices. Could you imagine?
And both of them, Breyer's a Democrat.
Yeah.
Breyer gives out, that slants the lean even further. And Clarence Thomas will most likely resign because he knows it's a Republican administration. So, that'll be a nice young Republican in there.
And you figure, you mentioned you don't think a president should have 3 Supreme Court justices. Imagine if Trump got 5.
That's extremely dangerous.
And it almost kind of just says it doesn't matter what he does in office, you know? Like, what's the point of any of this? He's just going to have 5 justices anyways. That's what he's going to be remembered for, more than anything else, is this huge, like, court swing.
And it's going to last for 20 years, as we talked about at the beginning here. And, if he wins a second term, the biggest fear from the left is, he's an egomaniac. So he wants to win re-election bad because it would destroy his ego if he didn't. So what happens when he can't run for a third term, even though he says he wants to? I don't think it's realistic that is going to be amended and changed because of how controversial he is. But the fact of the matter is, if he wins again, I think he's going to be more reckless, more aggressive, and less caring than he was during his first term. And we've already seen how careless he was during his first term. Imagine being less careless than that.
For 4 more years, too.
4 more years.
Man, it feels hard to believe it's been 4 years, huh?
Yep.
I was still a senior in high school.
Same.
That's a long time ago, huh?
Yep.
I remember staying up watching the election until 1, then I went to bed, woke up, and a Trump America.
Yep.
It's almost a weird thing.
It's just, so I'm hoping that things don't go the way that he wants. I think it's very dangerous because even if you're a Trump supporter, having 3 people on a court is very dangerous.
And potentially 5 come election time.
Yeah, very, very dangerous indeed.
And how likely do you think the nightmare scenario for Democrats would be where Trump wins in November, they retain control of the Senate, they probably won't get control of the House back for a while, because that's kind of far gone, and now they have a 7-2 Republican court. It's just, that's a lot of red for a while.
Yeah, the Senate keeps looking better and better for the Democrats, especially since this hearing jumped in. The Democrats, their poll numbers are going up because I think the average American voter understands how dangerous it is to give Trump a third appointment to this court. But I don't even know if it matters because I think we might already even be in the nightmare scenario.
The damage is done.
Because he has a 6-3 right now, and 3 of them are his. And even if he loses this next term,
he's got until January.
He's got until January. He can do a lot of damage till then. And if the Democrats don't retake the Senate, there's a lot of damage that can be done then because Mitch McConnell is an enabler to Trump. So even if Trump leaves, that still leaves us with the enabler that let it happen.
Right. The turtle, as people call him, Mitch McConnell. I don't get the nickname. Because he talks like a turtle?
Dude, he is so slow.
He does seem really slow.
And he's got the neck skin.
I think that, to my friends on the other side of the aisle, you're going to regret this. You're going to regret this sooner than you might think. But obviously for you, the non-nightmare scenario that Trump gets booted here in November, Democrats retake control of the Senate. Yeah, they got the president, the entire Congress. That still leaves the Supreme Court.
Yeah, which is extremely dangerous, because even now, during the Trump administration, almost 10 years later, the Republicans are still suing to try to remove portions of Obamacare. And Joe Biden says he wants to strengthen Obamacare. I can only imagine that any legislation Joe Biden tries to pass to change healthcare in this country is going to be met with at least consideration of the courts, which, slows the progress in anything they want to do.
Especially with how they've packed the lower level courts as well. Who knows how many cases will pop up there. There's 2 more things I want to mention before we move on from courts that I would like to get your take on. First, if Trump loses November, what do you think the odds are that Clarence Thomas retires then?
If he loses in November?
If Trump loses in November, do you think Clarence Thomas will retire early?
I don't think Clarence Thomas cares too much. I think he would prefer to retire
when he's ready
under a Republican than a Democrat. But I think at the end of the day, his confirmation trial was bloody and very issuous. And I think he lost a taste for all politics after that, and I don't think he really cares, honestly.
I do agree with you on that. I doubt if it comes to it, he's going to leave. He's still got a couple more years. He's tough. He might get through it all. And the other one I want to ask is, what's your take on the idea that if Trump wins in November, that Democrats should just pack the courts? What do you think on that?
It's a hit and a miss on it. I've been doing a lot of thinking about it. Because if we pack the courts, it opens up a scenario where the Republicans can counterpack the courts when they get the White House back.
Just like the nuclear options coming back now around.
So I think if we do that, it's a very dangerous, slippery slope where the Supreme Court then loses its entire importance at all, which I hate to see, but I don't know, because it's going to be bad regardless.
I feel like that's the Hail Mary play at this point, where it's like, if there's nothing left as an option, and they do that, that's very, like you said, risky, because come 50 years from now, 40 years from now, could you imagine, instead of seeing a 7-2 conservative court now, it's like a 14-2 either way?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's more dangerous, even if it's either side, That would just be a total shutdown of the other side.
Yep.
Next up, Kim Jong-un?
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un! Everybody, woo!
What a guy. He's
What a
still
guy!
alive.
Woo!
He didn't die.
He didn't die! Can you believe everyone thought he died for like 30 minutes?
It was like 30 days. He said he didn't show up for like 30 days.
Everyone was worried that his sister was gonna come to power and destroy everyone.
Yep.
That didn't happen.
He had a botched surgery or something, apparently.
That's hard. Anyways, he's back in the media now, again, for a different reason. A more, for him, light tone for him, but not for Korea, obviously. Recently, a South Korean official was in North Korean waters for some reason, which hasn't been deduced yet. And North Korean officers shot and killed the man. And in a rare showcase, Kim Jong-un actually came out and publicly apologized for it, saying, let me see if I can find the full quote. He said he says, very sorry about the incident. It's very rare for Kim Jong-un to have this almost humanitarian approach compared to, say, how it was 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big splits in the reporting between North and South is that the body, South Koreans believe that they burned the body of the official. And I believe Kim Jong-un himself came out and said that they only burned the device that he was coming in on. I believe, I could be wrong, that they're like willing to return the body of this official, which is nice. And I say that like questionably, because they still killed this man.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take on it? You think Kim Jong-un's a big teddy bear after all?
No, I still think he's atrocious as a leader. But I think it's good that he's doing this, because we've noticed in the past couple of years, even pre-Trump administration, that North and South Korea have been getting along better. Kim Jong-un and South Korea worked and did the Olympics together as a unified Korea. That was a major step. They've had peace talks now. The president of South Korea visited North Korea, So I think we're starting to work in the right direction. And I think this is just one of those telltale signs that we are in the right direction. I still don't think, Kim's a good leader.
Of course not. According to New York Times, they say this is the first time since he took power a decade ago that he's actually come out and apologized for this, which, like you said, is a huge step in the right direction. Do you think we're going to see peace between Koreas in the next 5-10 years?
Not until Kim dies. I don't think you're going to see peace until Kim dies.
I personally think that we're more likely to see peace under Kim than we are under, like, say, his sister.
From what I understand about his sister, I would agree. But the peace that the South Koreans want is a unified Korea.
Which is very unlikely under the
Which
authoritarian.
Yes. Which is why I say Kim needs to die, because if you're going to create a unified Korea under the South Korean peace plan, what you need to disrupt the authoritarian cycle.
Right. I had an article recently I had to write for a class that mentioned that when it comes to authoritarian regimes, they're replaced like 78% of times by coups. No, it's never really a peaceful transition from power when it comes to authoritarian regimes. And I mentioned in that is democratic backsliding, which is surprisingly coming back around a bit. It's a little weird. It's not popular, of course. But authoritarian regimes are still here. And some people want them back. 9% of Germans supported these far-right Nazi, actual, not literal Nazis. 9% of Germans supported the protests where these literal Nazis tried to storm the Reichstag recently. Which is scary, but at the same time, it's a single-digit percent. It's not the majority, of course, not even close. And that's what I feel like the greatest strength of democracy is like, if you don't like it, you just vote to change it, you know? It's the tyranny of the majority, though, in that case, I suppose.
It's a bit more difficult than that, you know, because look at the United States and our electoral college. Trump never won the majority, and his approval rating during, 99% of his presidency has never been the majority, yet he's still in charge. So it wasn't majority rules in that situation. To use the extreme example, Hitler was a democratically elected in Germany, but he was not democratically elected with a majority. He was democratically elected with a plurality. So he got the most votes, but it wasn't over 50%.
I'm obviously pro-electoral college. This is a can of worms we can open, not today.
Yeah, a different day. Democratic backsliding is something we will return to also. That is my capstone.
Ooh,
so I am very well versed. So that will be a major discussion.
Mr. Carson writing his capstone while I'm stuck here in American Sign Language 1, struggling.
What does this say? You guys can't see it, but I'm trying to do hand motions.
And I can hear your knuckles cracking every time you press your thumb against your hand. But I wanted to mention my one gripe with the whole popular vote thing in electoral college is if you want to be really democratic about it, neither of them won the popular vote. You figure barely 66 million people voted?
Yeah, it was barely over 50%.
Not even a fifth of the total population. But that's not obviously counting eligible voters, but is it really a popular vote if not even 40 million people voted for somebody?
Yeah, that's a fair argument to make. But going back to Kim Jong-un, I think he's going to have to die, and there's going to have to be some sort of coup or something if we get that
right. That's usually what it is. That's how authoritarianism ends. Usually someone steps in. Usually the United States steps in and says, "Here we go," and some stupid shit happens.
But I think it's a good telltale sign that nuclear war is not going to happen next week.
At least there's some positive coming this year. Do you remember January 1st of this year when World War III was trending on Twitter?
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, I mean it's our fault. The United States started it.
And we always started. When do we ever not start it?
Yeah. So very, very true. Is there anything else you think we should mention about Kim?
Mr. Un? Nothing really on my side.
I think I don't have anything.
It's nice that this half came out. It can lead maybe to further not disarmament, but disarmament.
In the long term.
In the long run, this is a good step. What is famous Chinese philosopher said? Journey of 1,000 miles, start step. Something like that.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
There he is. Listen to that man. He doubled my word count.
Yes.
Why use many words?
But you can use few.
Hey, you got it. You figured it out.
Shoot.
It was a test. A test of your deductive reasoning.
But moving on to our next topic, moving to one of Kim Jong-un's neighbors, the Chinese. The Chinese, are winning a lot of things around the world right now. One of them is their TikTok and WhatsApp, and a lot of those new social media is being developed by
new media.
Yeah, being developed by these Chinese companies. Recently, Trump, threatened to ban TikTok unless it was purchased by an American company for security concerns. And as we can determine now, TikTok is still here to stay.
So I'm personally not a big social media guy, and TikTok is not something that I personally enjoy because I'm not a big social media guy. I don't know. I know you like TikTok.
I mean, I think it's entertaining. They've got some fun little dancey things on there, some good memes. 11 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm not huge on it. I get the point of it.
The main reason I bring up this story is a couple reasons. One, TikTok was used to kind of go against the Trump administration and kind of mess with some of his rally counts and his election data by having hundreds of people sign up for events and email lists that didn't actually care.
Right.
And in retaliation to that, Trump, threatened to ban the app unless it was purchased by an American company for national security reasons, with the threat of China collecting data. And, my big hot take on it is, TikTok's been here since he became president.
Has it really?
But
yeah,
it only became a security concern when it was used against his campaigns. And that's what really kind of bugs me about it is I think Trump is trying to limit freedom of speech. He's attacking media corporations that don't agree with him. We see that all the time in press briefings.
Right.
Now he's attacking social media, and he found an excuse to do it.
I personally think if it comes out that TikTok is Chinese malware, if that is stealing information, I'm perfectly acceptable with it being banned. If it comes out that it is not fraudulent but malicious to steal people's informations, names, not obviously credit cards or anything, but if it's stealing information, if you're being doxxed when you use it, I feel like it's kind of fair.
See, the question you have to ask is, to what extent do we classify stealing information? Because one, every person who signed on to that app
has to sign up,
agreed and signed up, and two, all of these apps collect data in some ways. And is it a malicious intent or is it an entertainment intent? For example, on my TikTok, I get a lot of information about Ohio and Ohio memes.
Wow.
Is that because...
Who would have thought?
Yeah, and I'm from Ohio, so, they're collecting my data for sure because they're trying to use my location and previous likes and interest on giving that. But is that an attempt to be malicious or is that an attempt to find me content that I would relate with?
I feel like where the line is drawn at is in the terms of service, in my opinion. If it comes out that TikTok is taking stuff beyond what they say they claim that they're taking in terms of service, that they're storing things that they shouldn't be storing prior to the terms of service or according to the terms of service, I feel like that classifies sort of malicious intent. I feel like once it goes beyond that, we should probably take a look back at it. Of course, you mentioned the algorithm of it knows that you're Ohioan. A lot of websites do that. YouTube does that. If you watch our videos on youtube.com/Unelectoral College, I guess you probably know that if you're here, huh? You'll get recommended more political stuff because we're labeled news and politics. So the algorithm is there on virtually all social media that use it. So obviously it's not malicious because it's everywhere. Not to say that things that are everywhere aren't malicious, but it's being used mostly to give you information that you want to look at,
Yeah, and I think for the most part TikTok is anti-malicious, but it's a concern, that it's possible limitations of freedom of speech And if we look at the World Trade Organization, what Trump is doing under the World Trade Organization is more or less illegal. We're supposed to treat foreign companies as their home companies. So this opens up a can of worms now, because if Trump can ban TikTok for national security reasons, well, can it ban any company
Twitter.
that threatens an American-based organization? That's the question now. That's the legal loophole that we've opened upon ourselves here.
Like I said, I'm not a big social media person. So, outside of the political issues, I don't really care about TikTok, personally. Of course, I care about the legal ramifications of banning TikTok, right?
Yes.
But TikTok itself, I'll stick to...
We should watch one right now.
We should watch a TikTok, huh?
We're gonna watch a TikTok.
Joy.
Alright, let's see what the first...
I'm so glad that you blasted copyrighted music into the mic for about a second.
It's great, isn't it?
TikTok is malicious. They're trying to get us shut down. You see that?
This is it, guys. This was the last episode.
Well, thank you for joining us on the final episode. We thought there'd be a couple more, but guess not.
No, we're banned.
We're banned. Thank you, TikTok.
Thank you, TikTok. Shoot.
The algorithm is trying to get you banned because you don't want to be here, do you?
I'm banned.
Me too.
Yeah, so that's what I brought up TikTok for. I think it's a good, freedom of speech concern. It's a good can we bully foreign companies concern. And is Donald Trump, just limiting freedom of speech? Is he just a bad person? Those are all things to consider.
Is Orange Man bad?
Yes. Unequivocally. Orange Man very bad.
Perhaps Orange Man is not as bad as you purport.
Yeah,
I don't like him either.
So that was our third news story. The third one is about birds.
And I have absolutely no idea what this is, outside of birds are being quieter or louder because of the lockdown in California.
Yes.
Correct?
So California, one of the nature observers out there is reporting that birds are changing the pitches and tones of their calls because there is no other noise. And, without the San Francisco traffic and all that kind of stuff, these birds are now, doing a bunch of different things. And I think what this article's importance is, and what we need to realize about this article, is that we as human beings are impacting the environment.
And are loud.
And are very, very loud. And I think this is just one of the many examples you can find of kind of like humans versus nature and how we negatively impact the environment. And once we're gone, that environment kind of gets fixed again and returned to its natural state. So I think that's extremely interesting to look into. What do you think about it, Austin?
About which part? About how we negatively impact the environment?
Yeah.
You figure we've been destroying the environment for years to our own gain, huh? Look at climate change. I'm the right wing that believes in climate change. Can you believe it? We exist. There's like 3 of us. But I obviously believe that we should be doing more to protect our environment. Like the whole, there's only one Earth thing,
Mm-hmm.
At least until we're ready to move on to space. Until we move to Mars. Get on it, Musk. But
I don't want Musk to do it.
That's why anyone to do it. Look,
anybody but Elon Musk.
This podcast is getting canceled the day I get sent to Mars. I will be the first one there. I want to be on Mars. Because you know how easy that is to be like, I was the first man on Mars and I lived there until I died. I guess you wouldn't be like that because you would die. Huh?
Yeah.
But I'd love to do that, Would you do that if you had the opportunity to? Be one of the first in the colony Mars?
I mean, maybe. Here's the bigger hypothetical. Elon Musk talked about sending a one-way trip to Mars. Would you be willing to do that, to be one of the first people on Mars without,
No chance of coming back?
0% chance of coming back ever?
I probably would. I probably personally would, It feels like an easy way to leave a legacy. Being one of the first people to... Being the forefathers of Mars,
See, I would.
I probably would. It gives me an easy way to live my life, I'm kind of worried about what I'm going to do come 20 years from now. What if 20 years from now I'm just on Mars, chilling out, eating rations from a can?
Rations. Shoot, it's possible.
That'd be great, I personally would be down to be flown to Mars and die there.
I'm going to pass, but, I hope one day we do get to Mars. I think it's humans' destiny to go into space.
It's the living destiny. I love science, so I can talk about space for a long time. I can talk about the Carter scale of civilization. Would you like to hear about that?
I would like to hear more about the birds.
The birds! Carson's trying to censor me by making me talk about birds. Yeah, humans have a very negative impact on the environment, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You figure just one city destroys who knows how many, trees, animals, how much it affects the atmosphere with our carbon emissions. I personally think we should be moving away from coal anyways. Personally, if we're going to go on climate change. Yeah, it affects the climate, but the big thing is it's going to run out.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of want to be like, we should probably move on very soon from coal, or else it's going to run out and then we're just going to implode. But birds, I think it's fascinating almost to see how birds are adapting now that, of course, there are less people. And I'm interested in, obviously, they're going to be having to adapt again when all the coronavirus limitations are lifted.
See, but that's the question, though, isn't it? Because last week we talked about the future of work,
right,
and how many people are going to be working from home in the coming time periods. So what does that do then
to the
environment? Because if these COVID-19 lockdowns become sort of a extended phenomenon,
where people just stay
what
home.
happens to the environment then?
I feel like there's still going to be a lot of traffic, a lot of stuff where you're still going to be able to work, Well, let's say 70% of people stay home, which I think is going to be a little high of a number, personally. I feel like more than 70% are going to, or less than 70%, sorry, are going to be staying home. You figure that's still 30%. You've been in traffic before.
Yeah, regrettably.
Yeah, who would have thought that traffic sucks? Even with 30% of the people, it's still a lot of cars, a lot of emissions. I'm just looking at you over there on your phone.
Yeah, I had to send a Snapchat.
I can't be on my phone because I'm the man using the timer.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah, sucks to suck, huh? Who you're sending a Snapchat to? Call them out.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Absolutely nobody.
Absolutely
it's
nobody.
a big group Snapchat.
Is that why you pat yourself down a bit, made yourself look more presentable?
Oh, of course, always. You always have to look for your best. You have to dress for success. Which is why next week we're going to wear suits.
Yeah, that is true. When we go to our new location, hopefully, and we take our new picture for our podcast, hopefully, a lot of things will be changing next week, maybe. It'd be nice.
We won't be 30 feet underground.
Not anymore. We'll be above sea level, I think.
For the first time.
Will we be above sea level?
I think we're above sea level now.
I think we're above sea level. I feel like I go up hills getting here. So we still have a while. Anything to talk about unpolitically for a bit? We finished up pretty early.
Yeah, we went through those 4 topics pretty quick.
Yeah, we added another one too, huh?
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
No. I thought those 4 topics would last us the whole time.
Topics to talk about. Hit enter. Let's see. Cars, period. What was the first car you owned? Question mark.
See, I always drove a Lincoln. I'm a big Lincoln man. What about you?
I've got my motherly van, my Subaru Forester, where I have all my athletic stuff in the trunk, and a tire, and a first aid kit, and then 2 skateboards. Even though I haven't skateboarded in months, 2 broken frisbees, which are broken from use. Because I play frisbee, because I'm great. I'm an athlete, I swear.
Yeah.
I used to exercise, did you know that? Like a week ago.
A week ago.
I can't keep up for no reason.
Yeah, exercising is hard.
One reason is there's an individual in my living space that isn't my roommate.
Doug.
That is not the individual I'm talking about. I'm not going to name them. Makes it a little harder on me to exercise because I don't like being out there. You know? You can laugh. I don't know why. You're just trying to hide your laugh. Like,
because I know who you're talking about.
of course you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly who you're talking about.
There's like 3 other people in that living space. Let's see. What are... Ooh.
This is a train wreck.
What are the 3 things you never talk about? Let's talk about these things. Politics, religion, and money. We talk about politics. That's our show.
Let's talk about religion.
It's about religion. I'm apatheistic, which is basically an excuse.
An excuse.
So, from what I believe, from what I know about apatheism, is that it's more or less living my life without worry of the presence of a God. You know what I mean? My belief is that if there is a God, they'll respect me for my worship, or not my worship, for my virtues, and not my worship. And if there is not a God, well, tough shit, you know? I live my life fortuitously, which is nice. It just gives me an excuse to be like, eh. And of course, every time I say that, there are people like, but if you had to pick, I just tell them that, shut up. It's not the point. What about you, my liberal friend?
I'm a registered Methodist. So I do go to church regularly. But I do read a lot of interesting articles in science fiction and, philosophy and that kind of stuff in my free time. And, after reading a lot of these articles, I think I lean more towards the atheist side.
I think we're in a simulation. I believe that there's a higher power.
That.
I think there's a higher power, but I don't know what it is,
Could be aliens.
Could be aliens, could be Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
He could be the simulation hunter, It's not a big deal to me, personally, religion.
What's the other thing we don't talk about?
Money.
How's your money doing?
I worked at Walmart. I have, very little money left from Walmart. In terms of spending money, at least. I've been buying too many things. I'm
currently unemployed.
Me too.
Although I did do a lot of government work. I did quit for my last semester of university. So, I'm not making a lot of money either.
I guess I'm technically employed at Walmart. If we go to Walmart, I can still get my discount. And I'm probably going back over the winter break. Hopefully I don't have to go back over summer.
But what would help with our money?
What would help with our money?
Tell all of your friends to watch our channel.
Oh, yeah. Let's get monetized. That'd be great. I could get... My end goal for this podcast is to have enough money weekly to get a Subway sandwich.
That's all that
$7.
That's all that we want.
That's all I want. Just
is
a free
Subway
sub
sandwich.
Every week. If you told me that I could come in here and record for an hour, get a Subway sandwich, you got me. It's like when the old days where you throw a horse and have a carrot on a stick. That's me in this podcast and a Subway sandwich.
I was at a Malta United Nations tournament once.
How'd that go?
I win a lot. Me and my teammates were just phenomenal.
Did you win?
Of course.
Oh, nice. But he won.
But there was this one guy, I can't remember which country he was, but he was like, we need to use a carrot and a stick approach to get what we want out of this situation. And I stood up and I gave a speech and I was like, can you explain to me what a carrot and a stick approach is? And then I sat down.
A speech.
That was my entire speech.
Your speech was one sentence.
Was what is a carrot and a stick? Because my thought process was you give a carrot to somebody when they do good things, and then
Oh!
you beat them with a stick when they do bad things.
I thought you were saying this as like a call out. You just didn't know what a carrot and a
I
stick
had no
approach was.
idea what a carrot and a stick scenario was.
Do you know now?
I
Did he give
do.
you an
You
explanation?
did give me an
And
explanation.
you won that tournament after asking what a carrot and stick approach is.
Yeah.
Do you know what a rind is?
Like of an orange.
Yes! Oh my god. I have friends from home who think I'm an idiot for saying rind. But I guess the context doesn't help. I ask if they enjoy the rind of a Pringles can. Of a Pringles. The rind.
What is a rind of a Pringles?
The rind. The outside.
So
The
you're
can,
asking
the
if they,
rind.
why don't you just ask if they like the can?
Because it's a rind.
It's a can.
Not if it's a rind. When is a door not a door?
It's always a door.
When it's a rind. That doesn't make any sense, does it?
No.
That's funny.
All right. Here's a good thing. You're in school.
Yes.
You know, back to your high school days.
Oh.
You walk out into the hallway. You're a little thirsty.
What is okay?
What is that called? Where you go get the little drink? You know.
A water rind.
No.
Because it surrounds the water. And some people take bites out of them when they put their lips really close. Were you a child that did that, Mr.
No.
Carson? Did you put your lips on the water fountain?
No, why would I?
I
I'm
don't know.
not some heathen.
Are you sure? I kind of miss high school, you know? I was pretty handsome in high school.
What happened?
I don't know. I stopped being handsome.
Face reveal coming never.
Face reveal where I am actually kind of handsome. I'm a 6.5. What are you? Rate yourself on a scale of 10, Carson.
Dude, 11.
An 11. Oh, joy. An Adonis in my podcast booth. You deserve a marble bust, huh?
Of course I do.
If you had a bust, if you had a statue made of yourself, what would it be for? What do you think? What would be your legacy?
This podcast.
This podcast. On the steps of the White House. The Unelectoral Memorial. Unelectoral.
Unelectoral.
It's you and me in this building. Not even where we're going to be filming our podcast for let's say we're out for a year. It's going to be 20 feet, 30 feet underground. How far underground are we? Are we 30 feet underground?
We're at least a story and a half underground.
Yeah, we have to walk down a flight of stairs, and Carson has to steal a chair to get in here.
Yeah.
We're here legally, though. We rented the key. We swear. Carson just moves the chair around because he doesn't want to stand.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I don't want to give up my chair.
Yeah. He doesn't love me.
It's because I'm a capitalist. I earned this chair
Doing what?
by renting the key. I'm a self-made man. That's why I get the chair. Let's see. What are interesting conversations?
Just look up
topics?
CNN.
No. Okay, let's see.
CNN has so much good news going on there.
Hot take, I hate Apple products that aren't iPhones. I hate Macs.
Alright, what does CNN have to say? Look at some world news.
Among Us, a murder mystery set in space, is the latest multi-million dollar craze.
Love the game. 11 out of 10.
That game's been around since 2017. It just blew up recently, and everyone was like, this new game is sick. Shut up.
It's a phenomenal game. And it's, real talk, though, the game is, ripped off of,
Mafia.
Yeah, Mafia.
Well, it's a Mafia-like, you know? You can't really rip off Mafia.
I remember in high school there was a game called Salem, where it was
Town of Salem.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could play that right now. Stream. Or on podcast. There's Secret Hitler.
Secret Hitler's a good one,
Which
too.
is a game I own. One Night Werewolf. We're listening to Who's Who's of Mafia board games for those of you who like Mafia games and aren't my friends. Because I play these games all the time. You know?
He does, in fact, play a lot of games.
There's a duffel bag of board games that I own. And it's fun. I brought up CNN, and now you want us to cancel the rest of the podcast, huh?
Let's
Look
read
at this.
some
I brought up
CNN.
CNN for you.
Let's read some CNN. What's good on CNN?
Amy Coney Barrett.
We talked about her next.
That's about it.
There's more than that. CNN covers a lot of stuff.
I don't want to talk about this issue here because we have like 10 minutes left. Is that a fair point to make?
Yeah, that's fair. We will not discuss that.
Conor McGregor says he'll fight Manny Pacquiao. Fighting. Bang. I should be a martial artist.
I low-key don't know who either of those people are. I'm thinking of, Evan McGregor, who played Obi-Wan, which is definitely not the same person.
Conor McGregor is this Irish man who beats the hell out of people for money.
Oh, what a guy.
Isn't that awesome?
If only I could do that.
Hotel Rwanda? I haven't seen that in a long time.
Oh, yeah, the dude who did Hotel Rwanda is now in jail as a political opponent of the current regime.
Amazon's Ring will sell a $250 security drone that flies around your home. Remember last week we talked about drones?
Yeah.
Now what do you think of that?
I think it's great. It's cute.
Okay.
It's just a cute little thing.
I like this a lot. Ooh. It looks like a toy.
Room.
It looks like a toy. It looks like something that you like pop up and down to do something. You know what I mean? To pop it. You know what?
There's a lot of things.
You know what, Carson?
he did the hand motion.
You know what, Carson?
Yeah.
You're pathetic. This looks like a bat. It is a battery.
This is the worst podcast ever.
We really did. We're like we're concerned that we can't get the entire podcast. So we're gonna add a fourth topic. Then we didn't hit the time limit anyways. We weren't even close. We've got 8 minutes left, Mr. Carson.
We'll read some more CNN.
I already did. It's awkward silence here. When was the last time you cried?
Yeah, we talked about this
We
before
did.
the podcast
This is true. I've cried. Me, personally. I've cried one time in the past 5 or 6 years. When I was driving home from Walmart one day, I was like, I need to cry. Started crying. That was it. That was the last time I cried. I don't remember. There was no reason. I didn't have a bad day at work. I was just like, it's time to cry. I'm sad. For no reason, you know? When was the last time you cried, Carson? You're on Tinder a lot. Does that do it?
Oh, of course.
Aww.
Not really though. I think the last time I cried was honestly, I think the last time I cried was when Trump was elected. How sad is that?
I knew some people that cried in my school when Trump was elected too. It's pretty funny because I have in my world religions class, the teacher is fairly conservative and he likes to poke fun, which I think is alright. He poked fun when they were crying about Trump, and I thought it was funny, you know. I can understand crying about it. Don't come to school and cry about it. Why? Who cares? And now it's over. It's here. Or is it?
Da-na-na.
We might have 4 more years of Trump. Are you going to cry because you're elected?
Yeah.
We're going to come to that live. You're going to be live on YouTube for 7 people. And you're going to be crying.
Yeah.
And I'll be trying to calm you down.
Yeah. It's not going to work. I'm going to cry a lot.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't in the inn, we're trying to plan on doing this live when it comes election night. Of course, we'll be covering the debates. The first one's this Tuesday, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be watching that together somewhere. But we're planning on covering the election live. Right?
Yeah.
You look out of it. You're like... Alright, and I brought up these awkward questions to ask. I think this was perfect to ask you. Do you like having a beer belly?
Oh, of course.
Oh, jeez. I don't think I can ask some of these on stream. What would you rate yourself from 1 to 10? What
did that?
I know. What do you like most about yourself? What do you like most about yourself?
My style.
Your style.
I have a great fashion
You have a great
sense.
fashion sense. You're wearing jeans.
Yeah.
How great can your fashion sense be if you're wearing jeans?
I'm dressed better than you.
I'm not bragging about my fashion sense. Why do you think I didn't want to take a picture today? I got woken up at 8 a.m. after going to bed at 3:30. back to birds and humans being loud. I live on campus, sleeping in my bed, my comfy cold bed with the window like slightly open. 8:30 a.m. hits, music blasts through my window. I'm furious. I go to the bathroom, come back. I'm like, I'll stay awake for an hour. Fall asleep. What if falling asleep at my desk? How do they do it? How do they get away with it?
Because they're football players and they provide a lot of money for the school.
Man, we're desperate. The school's desperate.
We are. We fired so many staff members, and it's just a bad time.
It really is a bad time to be a football fan too. 'Cause our football team. Hot take: YSU football bad. They went 8-8 last year.
I don't remember.
They went 2-6 in conference.
See, I don't watch a lot of football.
I love football. It's because I'm Republican. I love football.
See, I go to a lot of art shows.
That's because you're a liberal. Wow.
That's a stereotypical.
Guns and football. But you're the one drinking.
I did drink a couple
I don't
beers
drink.
before the podcast today.
I'm not of age to drink, so I do not drink. At least that's what I'll tell everybody. I just don't drink because I don't like the taste of alcohol, personally. But I see you drink.
I'm a big beer guy.
I used to go to trivia with this guy, and we'd have to cut him off. We're worried he would go to the tap and guzzle it.
That was a good time. Rip trivia nights.
Man, yeah, that's unfortunate, huh?
Yeah.
That'd be something to do. Well, you know what? It's been fun with the small talk, the chatter. This was a bad week, wasn't it?
This was super bad. We should delete this.
Nope. But because you heard that, because it's going on. It's going.
Yeah.
Let's try that one again. It's going up later on when I care to put it up, which will be like in an hour probably from now. From where we're sitting. Give us a closer.
Go out and watch some birds.
Watch the first debate on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's probably very important. We're a political podcast, after all. We'll be watching it. We'll be obviously reporting on it that Saturday, which will be next Saturday. And I believe next Saturday is actually October, isn't it?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween, huh? Why did I say that on Halloween?
Because Halloween is a month-long celebration.
Oh, we're gonna put an episode up on Halloween.
Yeah, we
We'll
are.
just say it then. Are we gonna dress up?
Of course. I'm going to dress up as Trump and you can dress up as Biden.
I can't do a good Biden impression now.
You don't have to. All you have to do is just not remember what to say.
I already don't remember what to say. You've heard how many long pauses we had in this episode.
Alright, but yeah, so this episode's trash. We will do better
Don't
next
watch
week.
it.
We promise. Do not watch this episode.
If you skip to the end of the video and you heard this, don't watch the episode.